Picture this. You walk into a room, heart open, trust wide like a sky with no clouds. The kind of space where people know your story, not just your highlight reel, but your scars, your dreams, your childhood fears. You laugh with them. You share victories. You break bread and secrets with them. These are people you thought would hold you up if you ever fell. Then one day, you fall. And they're not there. Worse than that, you find out they were the ones who tripped you. Now, there's a moment, it's quiet, but it's loud inside you. The kind of moment that makes your chest tight, like your soul just stopped breathing. That moment when you realize someone you gave your truth to just used it to cut you. And that's where it happens. That urge, that heat in your gut, that tremble in your voice, that twitch in your fists. You want to speak. No, you want to scream. You want to stand up and make sure everyone in the room knows what they did, how they lied, how they broke you. But you don't. You sit there, and in the silence, you hear something deeper than your anger. You hear a question. Who do you want to become right now? Because pain is powerful. It's sharp. It wakes you up. But how you handle that pain, that's what writes your future. Most people, they want to swing. They want revenge. They want to be loud so they don't look weak. But let me tell you something. It takes more strength to stay seated in grace than it does to stand in anger. In that moment when everything in you wants to react, that's where your true self is either born or buried. So if you've been there, if you're there right now, I want you to feel seen. I want you to know you're not alone in that pause, in that battle between reaction and restraint. It's the hardest kind of strength, the one that gets no applause, the kind that no one sees until it shapes your destiny. Now, let me tell you something real. When someone hurts you, disrespects you, talks about you behind your back, betrays your trust, your first instinct, your most natural response is to react. That's human. That's survival. That's the blood rushing to your face, your jaw tightening, your hands curling into fists, maybe not physically, but emotionally. You want to set the record straight. You want to show them you're not the one to be messed with. You want to make them feel what they made you feel. A reaction, it comes quick. It feels right in the moment. It feels like justice. But here's the truth. Just because it feels good doesn't mean it is good. Reacting is what the world teaches us. Movies, music, the streets. They tell you, you hurt me, I hurt you worse. Eye for an eye, fire with fire. But let me ask you this, what does that leave behind? What's the cost of that reaction? Because while you throwing hands, throwing words, throwing your peace away, you might just be throwing your purpose away too. See, reaction is easy. It's emotional reflex. But restraint, that's a decision. That's maturity. That's wisdom in action. You don't respond just because you can. You pause because you understand. You know what's at stake. You know your calling is louder than the chaos. You know not every battle deserves your presence. I've had moments in my own life where I reacted too quick, said things I regretted, burned bridges I didn't need to burn, proved a point that didn't need proving. And when the smoke cleared, I was left asking myself, was that strength? Or was that fear wearing strength's clothing? Sometimes a reaction is really just a defense mechanism, a shield for our wounded pride. But what's powerful, what's rare, what's real is learning to sit with that heat and not let it control you. It's understanding that your silence can be stronger than their insults, that your restraint can speak louder than any comeback you could have delivered. You don't need to clap back to show you're not broken. Sometimes the most dangerous, most undeniable answer is elevation. You don't have to fight at the level where they attacked you. You can rise quietly, decisively, purposefully. Because the goal ain't just to win an argument. The goal is to win your life. They'll tell you that silence is weakness, that if you don't respond, you're soft, that if you don't clap back, you got walked over. But let me tell you something I learned the hard way. There is a power in stillness that no amount of shouting can match. See, when you're quiet, people think you're doing nothing. But they don't realize that silence is often strategy. Stillness is strength under control. It's a lion sitting calmly in the tall grass, not because it's scared, but because it's focused. It's watching, it's choosing its moment. A lion doesn't respond to every bark because it knows what it is. It doesn't need validation. It doesn't need noise. And that's the difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is instant, it's emotion. But responding takes patience, discipline, clarity. It means you've thought it through. You're not moving just because they moved. You're not letting someone else's chaos pull you out of your character. I've seen people destroy opportunities, relationships, even their own reputation because they couldn't stay still. They let their pride drive the wheel, and then they wonder why they crashed. But sometimes the real flex is not giving them the show they're trying to pull you into. Because let's be real, some people want your reaction more than they want your respect. They're not trying to grow with you. They're trying to pull you down, stir the pot, break your focus. And if you take that bait, you give them control. But when you choose stillness, when you decide, I'm not going to engage, I'm not going to stoop, I know who I am, that's a power they can't touch. That's the kind of strength that confuses people. It unsettles them because they expected you to explode and instead you elevated. You chose peace, not because you were scared of the fire, but because you are the fire. Controlled, intentional, focused. Stillness is not the absence of motion. It's the presence of mastery. It's saying, I don't need to fight every fight. I don't need to explain myself to small minds. I don't need to break myself just to break even. When you stay still in the storm, you're not just showing restraint. You're declaring that your destiny is too great to be shaken by temporary pain. That your purpose is louder than your pride. And that's not weakness. That's wisdom. That's power. That's growth. I remember a time early in my career, before the red carpets, before the awards, before anybody really knew my name. I was working hard, grinding every day, trying to do right, trying to build something real. And there were people, some close to me, who didn't want to see that happen. Smiled in my face, but doubted me behind my back. Whispered things like, he ain't gonna make it, or he thinks he's better than us now. And for a while, I let it get to me. I let that bitterness grow in my chest. I wanted to respond. I wanted to let them know I heard them. I wanted to show them who I was, what I could do. But then I talked to someone older, someone who had seen more life than I had. Quiet man, didn't say much unless it mattered. He looked at me, said, Denzel, sometimes when people throw dirt on you, it's not to bury you, it's to plant you. That line hit me like a freight train, changed the way I saw everything, because he was right. Sometimes the betrayal, the pain, the rejection, it's not the end of your story, it's the beginning. It's the soil. And your silence, your discipline, Your refusal to react, that's the water. That's the sunlight. That's the growth. See, I could have fought back. I could have dragged their names through the mud, gone toe to toe with every lie and every insult. But if I had done that, I would have been playing their game at their level, using their rules. And nothing great grows in that space. So I stayed focused. I worked, I prayed, I studied my craft, and I let my success speak. I let the doors that opened become my answer. I let the applause they said I'd never hear echo back into the silence I gave them. And I'm telling you this because someone out there needs to hear it. You don't have to prove your worth through revenge. You don't have to respond to betrayal with noise. Let them throw the dirt. Let them talk. Because if you're rooted in purpose, every bit of that hurt can become part of your rise. Your story doesn't end in the moment they hurt you. It begins in the moment you decide not to be reduced by it. Not every wound needs a war. Sometimes it just needs time, focus, and faith. Because the people who tried to break you will one day have to watch you bloom. And you won't have to say a word. So the next time they come for you with lies, with insults, with that fake smile that hides a dagger, I want you to remember something. You are not obligated to react just because someone tried to provoke you. You are not required to lower yourself to the level of someone who can't see your value, who can't handle your light, who only speaks from their own unhealed wounds. You don't have to fight fire with fire. That's what they expect. That's what they want. They want to drag you into the mess so they don't have to sit in it alone. But if you fall for that, you hand over your peace, you surrender your dignity, you trade your power for a moment of petty satisfaction that fades just as fast as it came. I've learned that silence is a response. Walking away is a response. Not texting back is a response. Choosing not to explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you, that's a response. And it's not weakness. It's not fear. It's not indifference. It's wisdom. It's strength. That's the kind of strength that doesn't need to be loud to be effective. They don't define you. Your pain doesn't define you. And your reaction, or the lack of it, is your opportunity to rise, not your obligation to retaliate. Every time you choose discipline over drama, you're building something that can't be broken by gossip, by betrayal, by noise. Every time you hold your peace, you're investing in your future. You're showing the universe and yourself that your energy is sacred, not something to be spent on people who haven't earned your presence. The person you're becoming, they don't have time to argue with people who are stuck in who you used to be. The path you're on is too high, too costly, too purposeful to get tangled in meaningless reactions, because you were made for more. You were built for impact, not impulse. And every time you choose grace over chaos, you prove that. So don't just rise above, stay above. Let your growth be louder than your grief. Let your vision be louder than your vengeance. Let your peace be louder than any pain they throw your way. Because the most powerful thing you can ever say is nothing at all. So now you've heard it all. The hurt, the heat, the silence, the strength, the journey from reaction to resilience. And I want you to walk away with this. You are not what they did to you. You are what you chose to become in spite of it. Anybody can throw words. Anybody can act out. Anybody can react. But to pause to breathe, to hold your power when everything inside you wants to release it. That's not just discipline, that's destiny talking. That's purpose protecting itself. Every time you resist the urge to retaliate, you're telling the world, I know who I am, I know where I'm going, and I won't let anybody pull me off course. So the next time life tests you, and it will, remember this: your peace is expensive. Don't let it be cheapened by petty moments. Your character is your compass. Let it guide you through the storm. And when people look back on your life, may they not just remember what you achieved, but how you carried yourself when you had every reason to break. Don't just live with power, live with purpose. And when they try to pull you into the fire, smile, because you are the fire. Calm, steady, unshakable. God bless you. Stay strong, stay grounded, and never forget, you are more than their words. You are your choices.